Get your palms out. You gotta get the fingers out. Hands out. I mean, you're putting like phone on phone here. Fingers don't even touch. Oh, hello. Hello. We're live. Oh, wow. Hello. Oh, to Les Miles. Oh, to Les Miles. Absolutely. The coach is in the studio. The proper hand clap. That's a quality hand clap. That's what that is. Absolutely. He's the legend Matt Gobert. I'm the guy, Ryan Landry. This is episode 51. Finally, we've been waiting for how long? January?
I lost count.
January. We've been counting down for 7 months. Guys, football season is officially here.
Yes, this is all football. This is what everybody waits for. I mean, we can only do so much of the World Cup. Yeah.
And baseball and golf and basketball and
training camp.
Training camp.
You know, talking about people running routes and not dropping passes.
Right.
Now we actually get to analyze stuff.
We get to break it down from the top to the bottom, left to right. Special teams, offense, defense.
This is our Saints season preview show, and then we also, right after that, is the LSU Wisconsin Advocare Texas kickoff game. Yeah. We better get some free spark for that plug.
Something. Lindsay Day, holla holla.
And then, of course, one of Ron and I's favorite segments are back at the end. Rapid fire.
Rap.
We should keep track of it this year. See how we
should.
Absolutely.
Somebody keep scoring.
Yeah.
Anyway.
JB, you do it.
Yeah.
With that said, Ryan, let's start off, I guess, with the Saints here. They officially finished training camp today and got down to 75 players. And, of course, we'll be opening up the season on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. Their roster will get down to 53 players after the final preseason game coming up on Thursday night against the Ravens. It's going to be an interesting season for the Saints, right?
It sure will. You know, it's sad to see Andy Tanner go. Victor Butler, we knew was kind of going to go because I don't think he had one practice in training camp. I think he got another injury during the OTAs. They cut it down to 73. One guy I'm glad to see go. Sorry, I hate to say that, but Rod Sweeting has been cut off the first part of the roster.
Yeah, I thought he'd at least make the first cut. But
yeah, you know, this guy showed that he's just. I hate to say it, you know, he showed what he's not capable of last year towards the end of the season once Jabari Greer went down, and he was part of the first cuts. A couple of third-string linemen have been cut. Your boy Logan Kilgore out of Middle Tennessee didn't make the cut, which was kind of expected, but at the same time, you know, you always want to see the underdogs make it. But looking forward to Thursday for the matchup against the Ravens. Of course, you're not going to see any first teamers, not many. Right. Drew's going to ride the pine and hold a clipboard and, you know, drink some water. And
starting offensive line might play the first series, which will be just probably 3 handoffs.
Exactly, just to get them tuned up. This will be where the rest of the guys have their real audition. You guys like Vinny Sinceri, you guys like Shantavius Jones, Brandon Coleman,
and Warren, the safety.
Warren.
And you know, mentioning Sweeting, yeah, that's good news for a guy like Warren and these other guys trying to make the roster, especially in that secondary. That's, I think, has become the most competitive battle of all the training camp, even more than the wide receivers.
Which is tough to say considering we have now 7 wide receivers left on the roster now that Andy Tanner's been cut.
Right. I think one more may miss the cut on that. I think they'll keep 6, but then you know, one of them may make practice, which increases to 10 players now. This year for the first time ever.
Prediction on that, Gobert? We already know who our 4 locks are: Colston, Stills, Cooks, Meacham. I say Tune.
I think Tune makes it.
And then I say it's gonna end up on Thursday night on who plays a better game, Shantavius Jones or Brandon Coleman. Brandon Coleman's at 6'6", 220.
I think they're going to give Coleman every opportunity in the world. I think Jones would be the odd man out. But then Coleman may also be another man out, but maybe make the practice squad.
Coleman could have super glue on his hands and can't catch a football this preseason. We're not really sure what's going on with that.
I think Peyton really thinks he's a project. You know, 6'6" is hard to
come by. It's hard to turn down. I mean,
maybe they're
6'7".
Right, and maybe they're willing to give him another shot or try to develop him. I mean, he's only a rookie.
We shall see. We shall see. On the other side of the ball, though, you know, like you said, the secondary is very competitive. Champ finally got a little playing time this past weekend against Indianapolis. Defense looked fantastic. We've got 8 turnovers in the past 2 games. Vaccaro with a great interception. My pick of the draft, Vinny Sinceri, is starting to become a headhunter. They said last week in practice he took Brandon Cooks off his feet, and everybody kind of gasped, like of all people, don't hit him. But that he's much like a poor man Kenny Vaccaro. He's a headhunter. He's a heavy hitter,
and he has that attitude where he's playing hard even in training camp practice.
Absolutely.
Where that almost seems to be a lost art. That's their old 1960s Vince Lombardi type football.
Yeah, some Jackie Wallace type football. Take it that far back.
Whoa.
St. Louis Rams.
That is a throwback.
He was the start of the headhunters.
But Saints, they should have a pretty loaded roster this year. In fact, Archie Manning himself, when I think we talked about this a few weeks back. We saw him at the one of the Manning camp post parties. He himself has said he thinks this 1 through 53 is the most talented Saints roster ever. ESPN magazine came out this week and predicts the Saints and the Colts to play in the Super Bowl. So.
They got the outcome of that game wrong, but Saints and the Broncos.
Right. Saints Colts.
Saints and Broncos.
Same quarterback knows what the Colts is.
Lest we forget what happened the last 2 times Manning went up against the top 5 defense in the Super Bowl. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Legion of Boom.
And Tracy Porter says hello, Peyton Manning.
Tracy Porter's having a great job running the ball this offseason. Zing. But Ryan, another position battle that's going to come down to the final wire that I think is, one guy starting to separate himself is center.
Yep.
I think Jonathan Goodwin's starting to solidify himself, but it's good to have Lolito there, for depth.
Always.
And I think he can also play guard, God forbid, with Ben Grubbs and Evans, they've been kind of off and on.
Right.
Everybody's going to be ready to go for week 1, of course, with the offensive guards on the line, but it's nice to have a little bit of depth there. And then the Saints front seven is just fun to watch. You got Junior Gillette, Cam Jordan. The Roman Humbert is making a name.
He sure is. Humbert has been like the sleeper linebacker this year. He was quietly starting to claim his spot at the Mike spot.
That's right. And then you got Hawthorne's out there still.
Can't forget Lofton.
And Lofton's still got a couple prime years left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year we called them the misfit defense.
Yeah, pretty much.
This year they're starting to be nicknamed the no-fly zone. They showed some flashes of that with the secondary.
They sure did.
And especially they can stay healthy. You have guys like Bird and Vaccaro starting, and then they'll have some depth. Raphael Bush, Vinny Sinceri, Warren, all these other guys. And Champ Bailey as a nickel and dime back, that just kind of
it's surreal to have somebody like Champ Bailey with his resume on the Saints defense, even if he only sees 10 to 15 snaps a game, if that, to have his wisdom, to have 12 Pro Bowls. This guy's a Hall of Famer in the making, and he's on our side of the ball, coaching a lot of these younger guys as well as showing it on the field. But I want to go back to what you said about the center thing.
Okay.
I think we got shown Saturday night against the Colts who our starting 11 is going to be on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
with the first few drives. 3 drives, 2 touchdowns, and a punt. It wasn't a 3-and-out, but it was a punt. But Goodwin was under center. But like you said, Lolito would be a center. Goodwin can play center and guard.
Yes.
So if something happens, we've got some options to move Goodwin around and still have the chemistry that we need, so the offense can run well lubricated.
And another good thing about seeing that or one thing I enjoyed seeing, and they were having trouble with both centers in training camp, not just with Brees, but all the quarterbacks, which is fumbles on the snap.
The exchange.
There's no excuse for that. And I don't remember the Saints having a fumble last game. Have they had one since the first week? Maybe?
Nope.
Or have we even fumbled this week?
I think the big thing about that, Matt, was it was the Lolito to Griffin and Lolito to McCown exchange. The Goodwin to Breeze exchange, if I'm not mistaken, they've already got experience together.
Yeah, they played
together. So that's pretty vanilla right there. But I think the big problem that we had was the Lolito and Goodwin to McCown and Lolito and Goodwin to Griffin exchange, because both of these guys, McCown's got years, but he doesn't really have that much experience, and Griffin's only in his second season.
That's right. And then another battle I think that's going to come down to the end is kicker. Shane Graham's not guaranteed to get that spot. He struggled a little bit in practice today with the wind out there,
Who's this new guy, Dimke?
Dimke, yeah.
Dimke's got a boot on.
He's got a boot, and
he's good from 55.
I know it's just practice, but he outshined Graham today apparently. But I think they'll give him every opportunity, and I think it's really going to come down to the end.
I think we keep both.
And that's a possibility.
I think we keep both because Graham's got years and years of experience, and all time, I want to say he's the 7th most accurate kicker.
He is pretty up
to
there.
date. He averages, I think his career average, is around 87%.
Something like that.
87%.
I think he's in the mid-80s.
Yeah, which, I mean, is 8th best all time. I think the only one, I think the top of that list is Vinatieri. You know, so you're going up against some real quality.
Yeah, a guy that's 41 years old, he's still pretty automatic from inside 35.
Well, as you should be, but nonetheless,
But it doesn't
as
always
you get
happen.
up in age, 41, you said?
Yeah, I think
that's incredible.
Vinatieri's 41 now. I know he's the oldest kicker in the league.
Sounds like Morton Anderson all over again.
Oh God, yeah. Him and Gary Anderson, I think each played for like 46 or something.
Something like that.
They kept trying to break each other's score record. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
They'll both end up being Hall of Famers when it's all said and done. I think Morton already is one, and Gary's probably on the way if he's not already. I have to double check with Gary, but I mean, he will be eventually, of course.
But looking forward into week 1, we're gonna a little touch base on the Falcons game before we get to the nitty gritty about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons, as unbiased as I can be about this, do not look like they're in good shape. They really don't.
And even a team like Carolina, I think, is taking a step back.
They
lost a lot of offensive weapons. As crazy as it seems, because the Bucs finished second in the NFC South.
You beat me to it, Matt. You really did. The Bucs have a lot of talent. Lovie Smith, of course, is at the helm. Lovie Smith is a proven winner.
But can they get quarterback play?
That's their problem. That's going to be their problem. And, you've got talent like Mike Evans on the outside. You've got Doug Martin coming back fresh off that injury, and he should be ready to play in his 3rd season. And as a lot of us fantasy gurus know, that 3rd season for running backs is really their time to shine. Most guys in their 3rd season do the best that they do in their career, or at least for their first 5 years in that 3rd season. Adrian Peterson, Chris Johnson, Reggie Bush, the list goes on. Their 3rd seasons are their highest production in yardage and in touchdowns. So this could be the year that Doug Martin really has a breakout year.
He could be, and especially coming off a disappointing season last year. He could be. We were talking about this during our fantasy draft Sunday. He could be a sleeper.
He very well could be. Very well could be.
But
speaking of Gary Anderson.
Yeah.
Do we just dive in?
Before we get to that, I guess we got to make season predictions on the Saints. Since this technically is a Saints season prediction.
Yeah, okay. It's a season preview. Okay.
We did it with LSU last show on the 50th episode. Now,
blind optimism.
But hey, never know.
Get a little more realistic with the Saints here. You go first. Have at
it. It's tough to be non-biased when it comes to all that stuff, for sure. I'm going with my first instinct on this. I think the Saints win the Super Bowl this year, and I'm going to go 13-3.
This is why he and I do this show together, because we're very much on the same wavelength. I say 13-3 as well, and I was listening to a local station, but it's a national sports talk, and one of the talking heads on the station, matter of fact, I think it was the Dan Patrick Show.
Okay.
He had some guy on there, and they were covering each division, both AFC and NFC, and they were covering the South one morning. I was on my way to work. And he said, the Saints are geared, no better time than now to make a run at the Super Bowl. They said, out of the NFC, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Saints, whoever comes out of the regular season as the number 1 seed, you can pretty much chalk it that they'll be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And
all 3 of those are so tough to beat at home.
And win it. No matter who from the AFC comes out, whether it be Denver, whether it be New England.
Speaking of that, that's my pick. I think that, it's weird to call New England a surprise, but even though they're starting to age a little bit, I think New England will come out of the AFC.
Belichick, period. I've got the Saints going 13-3 as well. Since you took it that far, I'm going to say the Saints bring home the 2nd trophy in franchise history. I wasn't going to go that far just yet. I was going to say 13-3, division champions, home field throughout the playoffs, and let's see what unfolds. But since my comrade here took it that far, we might as well go all the way to the bank with it. I think the Saints' defense is really and truthfully what makes the big difference. I think Drew throws for another 5,000 this year. Drew and Sean Payton are unmistakably the best coach-quarterback tandem in the NFL right now. There's no discussion about it. You've got Jimmy Graham coming up, finally 100% healthy from that toe injury, so we can actually see what he can do for 16 games. Fingers crossed that he stays healthy. We have a favorable schedule at home outside of the division. And you can pretty much chalk it up. We go 8-0 at home. If we sweep the division, that puts us at what? 11-0?
That's 11 wins.
That's 11-0 right there.
Yeah. which means you would only have to go 2-3 on
In
the
the
road
five.
in games. Let me think what it is actually.
At Chicago's one.
At Chicago, at Cleveland, I believe at Pittsburgh.
That's gonna be a tough one too.
Yeah. At the Rams, I think again. Yeah, it's weird. It seems like we always play. No, I'll take it back. It's not at the Rams. We played the 49ers this year.
We play the 49ers at home.
They're at home. Again,
Yeah, we
I
play the
believe
49ers
this
at
is
home.
it's the third straight year we play them at home
Yep.
after that playoff game. God, I'm drawing a blank on the rest of the schedule right now. I think we play at the Giants maybe,
I feel like we go to New York.
and
Probably
then
I mean, you got to think at home.
yeah, I'm trying to like go through the
Bucks. We got the 49ers. We got the Packers. You know, that's
at Detroit.
at Detroit. Yeah, never mind. I mean,
I was like trying to go through.
I don't want to count them out that fast, but it's Detroit. I mean,
But Detroit, I think could
the
be a
last time
surprise
Detroit's
team.
mattered in anything was the Red Wings.
But Detroit, if they stay healthy, they do have a good offense.
They do.
That
They very
could
much
maybe
do.
pull them to 10 wins. They could win that division
With 10 wins.
with 10 wins.
That's ridiculous. There's been talk already this season of Drew Brees as a preseason MVP candidate because of the talent he has around him and because of his pinpoint accuracy. You got Brandon Cooks, and I know you guys saw the Rams game with that when he turned on a dime and brought his first touchdown in. You can't catch that. You can't teach that. As a defensive back, what do? What can you do? Watch him run by you as he cuts that corner on you?
Feel the heat of the tires burning rubber on the
That's it. You can hear it from St. Louis. You can't teach that.
Keep on rolling.
Nice. 13-3 Super Bowl run. New Orleans be ready for round 2.
Absolutely. And of course, next week on episode 52, we'll preview the Falcons game in depth. You know, that's when we'll really start getting into the preview.
The nitty gritty of it all.
But it's some guy named Gary Anderson.
There's some guy named Gary Anderson that's not a kicker in the NFL, but he coaches some school.
Speaking badges.
Damn cheeseheads. I ain't talking about Packers fans.
No. It is indeed the opening week of
The return of college football.
College football. Saturday nights will indeed be full until February. Sorry, ladies. Date night is no longer.
Sorry, Ellen. Saturdays are occupied.
Oh, the cool girls. Saturday night, date night football. That's the cool girls.
That's right. They get a bigger diamond.
They kind of earned it.
Yeah, they earn it. It's going to be an interesting matchup. You got the number 13 Wisconsin Badgers, or number 14 LSU Tigers, depending on which poll you look at.
Right.
Doesn't matter. You got the 13 and 14 matchup out of conference in Houston to start the season. This is now the 4th year in a row we play a ranked out-of-conference opponent to open the season.
Well, four out of 5. 2012 we opened against like North Texas, but then we played Washington at home. But in 10 we played North Carolina in the chicken sandwich game.
Yep.
Then
11 was Oregon.
And then 13 TCU.
Yep.
And 12 we opened up at home.
And Les Miles is undefeated against ranked opponents outside of conference.
And also LSU brings in the nation's longest.
Opening winning streak?
Well, they have an opening. Yeah, we have a long opening winning streak, but also we've won 45 straight non-conference regular season games. Last time LSU lost a non-conference regular season game was 0-2 at Virginia Tech.
Wow.
When Matt Mock, making his first start ever on the road, and Virginia Tech had that. Well, I guess they still do have the daunting special teams.
The Beamer ball.
Beamer ball usually get 3 touchdowns a game off the special teams, usually 2 off block punts, which is insane. But they got one of them off of that game.
So you got to think, in 12 years, we have not lost one out-of-conference game. Keep this ball rolling.
Absolutely.
To the nitty-gritty, Matt. To the nitty-gritty.
Going into this game, LSU is a 4.5-point favorite. It has moved to 5 in Vegas because of the juice. And
Place your bets.
Place your bets for degenerate gamblers that love to watch this show. But LSU playing in Houston for, I don't know if it's the first time we've ever played in Houston, or God knows it's been a long time since we played in Houston. And, maybe we played the Cougars back in the day or something like that. But
I thought we played Oregon in Houston.
That was in
Dallas.
Dallas.
You're right, it was in Dallas.
Playing at an NRG, former Reliance Stadium, home of that crappy AFC team.
Yep.
But an interesting thing in this game, Ryan, is in that stadium, college games are played on astroplate and not grass like the Texans play. So you're going to have a faster surface, which I mean, we know who that benefits. But Gary Anderson in his second year after coming from Utah State, they run that spread offense, and it's a little different. I think that Badger fans are going to see. They still, I think, have the personnel for the most part for that ground and pound offense, but I think this year, they may go more of a hybrid to slowly transition to what he wants to do. But you can only do what you want. And not to mention they have a 1,400-yard rusher in Gordon. And then quarterback is the interesting scenario. And you got McAvoy, who was at South Carolina and played with Steven Garcia and those guys a couple years ago.
So he should be cleared to play this season.
He's cleared to play, but he played safety for it last year. And so he's at least seen SEC speed before, but that hasn't really, I guess,
played 60 minutes of SEC speed.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. And he overtakes Stabby, a guy who started for them last year in Wisconsin. Was a 9-win ball club last year.
Quality team.
Gave South Carolina, actually, of all teams, a decent bowl game in the Capital One Bowl.
And Gordon hung 149 on South Carolina against an SEC defense
who's considered up there.
You're right. And I had this discussion online with a couple of guys in an LSU forum. I want to know, everybody was raving about Gordon, and they said he put 149 up against South Carolina. I want to know what his yards per carry were. Because Wisconsin is a run-heavy team.
Yeah.
They run the ball 80 to 85% of the time, and they have been since the days of Ron Dane. Because they're a big body up front. Their front seven is very strong, much like LSU's front seven on the O-line. They're going to run the ball. If you don't like smash mouth football, this might not be the game for you because there's not going to be a lot of airing it out in this game.
No.
If there are, it's going to be reminiscent of a couple of Mettenberger days from last season where you're going to see some play action, deep 15 and cross routes and let the athletes get where they do, where you get Dural or somebody like that in the open field. But it's really going to come down to the front seven and the battle in the trenches against this one.
Which Wisconsin, I believe, has replaced their entire front seven on defense.
That they have.
LSU's biggest strength this year, I think by far, is going to be the offensive line, 4 to 5 stars returning.
Much talk that LSU has the best of the 14 offensive line in the SEC this year, and very well could.
And you got to think, and then also you add Dylan Gordon. He's starting at tight end. He's like 280 pounds. I mean, it's like another offensive lineman. And I was looking at the weight. I think he weighs more than everybody on Wisconsin's defensive line,
probably
or at least right up.
At 280 for a Big Ten defensive line, you probably do.
And their linebackers are around 250. I mean, you got to think those front six are going to be licking their chops.
And then you got the likes of McGee with the afterburners.
And not to mention Connor Neighbors as well, fullback.
Yep.
He's a guy that loves to be a headhunter out there. I know we lost J.C. Copeland, but Connor Neighbors played a lot last year.
To replace Copeland with Connor Neighbors, I'm okay with that. McGee, of course, the starting senior, wearing the 18 this year for the Tigers. But right behind him, you got Kenny Hilliard, and then you got the man, the myth, the legend, Booger Nation, Leonard Fournette.
And then Darrell Williams.
And, of course, Darrell Williams.
I think
you've got a stable of running backs, and all four will see action, as well as Brandon Harris and Anthony Jennings. You're going to see a lot of Tigers on the offensive side of the ball really doing a lot of the work. It's going to be Johnny Holstaff, as we like to call it in baseball, running the ball. I'd like to see Trey Quinn. I'd like to see Dural get the ball. But I really and truthfully think Miles is going to play Les Miles football, and it's going to be smash mouth down your throat. And there's been a lot of talk on a lot of different forums that LSU is going to run away with this one about halfway through the third quarter. I think the front seven we have compared to the front seven of Wisconsin's defense is just there's no match. There's really and truthfully no match. That's not blind optimism. That's just looking at the numbers on paper.
The last two non-conference games that they had against the ranked opponents with TCU and Oregon, both games were kind of similar in that it was pretty close at halftime.
Right.
A touchdown game, I think LSU led, or I think they may have led Oregon by 4 or something like that.
Right.
But then in the second half, they wore out the opponent.
Absolutely.
And ended up,
control the clock, control the game.
Controlling the game, and it was never really in doubt for either one
right.
of those. And, it could be something possible that they do against Wisconsin as well, but the potential equalizer, it's for both sides. Wisconsin is unsure quarterback, but then LSU doesn't have much experience at quarterback either. Miles knows his starter, hasn't said anything, but I think anybody with common sense knows. I think Anthony Jennings starts, and regardless, will get maybe the first 3 series or at least 2, no matter what happens. Just let him play.
Right.
But I think they have either a simplified version of the playbook or something for Brandon Harris. Both of them are going to play.
Yeah.
And they may have so-called, quote-unquote, Harris packages maybe,
right.
For him.
Both are dual threat, so both can run the ball.
Both can run. Harris has the stronger arm,
But shown in the spring game.
But maybe Jennings is the bigger guy. He can, maybe truck a couple people. Or I don't know who's better at running the so-called option. Both of them I think are capable of it. But Jennings at least has some game experience running it. He ran it a little bit in the Iowa game, in the rain when it was raining and such like that. And it wasn't his best game, but I went back and watched a little bit of it today. I at least liked his decision making, and even on the interception, it was just an awful throw. But
good decision.
He had the deer in the headlights look, but Iowa was one of the better defenses that LSU faced last year. First ever start on almost more of a road game than a neutral site. Iowa probably had 2-1 fan advantage that game. Pouring down rain. He didn't lose the game. Well, LSU won the game, but he didn't play so horrible that it would have cost LSU to lose the game.
Absolutely.
And Jennings could surprise people.
He could.
He really could.
He may have gotten a lot better since the spring game. Jennings, of course, has the experience. We've talked about him, about his
because you could see what we saw against Arkansas.
That's what I was about to say. His amazing performance against Arkansas, coming on the field to win the game when Mettenberger goes down for the season, and just showed extreme poise. Not to take away from Gordon running for 1,400 yards last year. If you do the math, he averages right over about 110 a game. Take away the 149 he put up against South Carolina, you're looking at a 1,250-yard season-ish in the Big Ten.
Okay.
In the Big Ten.
Then they also got their two-headed monster. I'm drawing a blank on the other running back who did run for 1,000 yards.
There's a lot of talk of this guy being a Heisman candidate early on, like a Heisman dark horse early on. I don't have much faith in any team from the Big Ten if they're not Ohio State or Michigan State.
Right. Because Braxton Miller was probably
he was a Heisman front runner
to
start the season, and he was one of the main reasons I picked Ohio State to go to the national championship this year. Now that he's out,
it's
Big Ten's really
do we? In fact, Wisconsin may be the favorite.
Wisconsin could be. I still think Wisconsin, with predictions being that LSU beats Wisconsin in the season opener, they could run the table, and I still don't think they get into the Final Four over a 2-loss SEC champion.
That would be an interesting conversation for sure.
I know.
And
somebody
brought the point and said, what if, we'll get into the predictions in a second, but somebody was saying, what if LSU does control the game, wins by 2 touchdowns at least, and then Wisconsin, because of their cupcake schedule, runs the table and goes 11-1 the rest of the way and wins. Yeah, they may get in the playoff, but at the same time, they start running into the big boys in the playoffs.
Right.
Instead of
they're going to be playing some real ball.
The Cupcake 10 now.
Exactly.
This year. But the Big Ten's not that strong other than
Ohio
State, Michigan State.
Wisconsin's kind of on the
maybe
rise.
Wisconsin. Michigan may have one of their worst years in a while. I think Brady Hoke could potentially be on the hot seat this year.
It's going to be interesting. But on the other side of the ball, we haven't even touched the defense yet.
Yes.
We haven't even touched the defense yet. Our young defense is going to have their hands full. Because just like LSU's front seven is our big strong point, Wisconsin's front seven may have been replaced, but they're no slouch. Like we said, we've been talking about Gordon raving him up.
Right.
He's a Heisman dark horse. We're really going to have to play some containment ball to keep this guy in check. Wisconsin ranked 4th in the nation in yards gained before contact occurred, behind only Oregon, Auburn, and I forget who the other one was.
Was it Florida State maybe?
It might have been Florida State, but you got to think in that category, you got the national champion and national runner-up in yards before contact,
and they had another BCS,
and then another BCS team. So we really going to have to win the battle in the trenches. That's what it's all going to come down to. We're going to see Danielle Hunter, who looks like a man reborn.
He looks like Hulk.
He looks like Bane. He looks like Bane, but
we should put the mask on him.
You really could. Oh, that's a meme waiting to happen.
Wisconsin, you'll have trouble coming.
I was born in the dark. You really adopted it.
And then, of course, you got Jeremiah Roscoe coming back.
And Roscoe's in good health. Yeah. Roscoe's back to 100%, so it should be real interesting to see what Roscoe can bring on the table this season.
And then at defensive tackle, you have guys like Quentin Thomas, Locachore.
Thank God Quentin Thomas is healthy.
Yeah, knock on wood, LSU caught a break with that. You got upcoming guys. There's some wood. You got some young guys like Bain coming in. It's going to be interesting to see what LSU can do on the defensive line. I think they'll be better than we thought they might have been in the spring. They came in bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will help. And, of course, at linebacker, LSU may have the most speed they've ever had at linebacker. You got Walter will be in the middle, but then also you'll have
Lamar Lewis.
Yeah, Lamar Lewis and Juan Alexander be on the outside, and then you'll have Debo Jones and Kendall Beckwith in there, and then Clifton Garrett, true freshman. At some point, he'll get in there. Miles thinks 6 to 12 true freshmen will play in those games.
That's incredible. There's been a lot of talk of Quan Alexander, who was playing at the Mike position all last season.
Yeah.
He's going to move outside to the Sam or even to the weak side.
Yeah, and I think that's more of his natural position because he's just a headhunter.
And Lamar Lewis is going to be moving more towards the Mike position. So it's going to cause some confusion for Wisconsin because they can look back all last season and see Quan Alexander in the middle. And all of a sudden now Quan's going to be in his natural position and havoc will be had.
Yeah, I think you'll see Chavis run that Mustang a lot, like the 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers. And then, of course, getting to the secondary, you have Jadarius White and Rashard Robinson returning at cornerback. You'll have freshmen like Ed Parrish getting some playing time.
Ricky Jefferson
there at safety. Ronald Martin.
As long as we keep a Jefferson off of the offensive side of the ball, I'm okay.
He looked good in the spring game.
I'm just being a joke.
I know. But, yeah, we don't want him on it.
No.
Of course, another guy, speaking of offense that we forgot to mention, at wide receiver, who says is probably a dark horse, Avery Peterson. Patrick Peterson's brother, who's one of the fastest guys on the team.
This is true.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see with that. I'm excited, Ryan.
Yeah, finally. As big of a Saints fan as I am, the Saints can lose 2 or 3 games and still win the Super Bowl.
Right.
LSU, the tournament starts
It's
Saturday.
on the line every week.
The tournament starts on Saturday, and I cannot wait. This is the first time in 14 years I don't have to request off of work to watch football. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm beside myself.
You'll get used to it.
I'm beside myself. I love it. It's incredible.
With that said, before we get into rapid fire, of course, we always pick LSU first. What do you think, Ryan?
Spread's 5.
Spread is 5 now.
I'm gonna do 2 things. I haven't done this yet.
Okay.
Halftime, 14-10.
Okay.
Tigers. 14-10 Tigers.
Okay.
Full time, game over, 38-21.
Do you see LSU running away with it?
No, 38-24, excuse me.
So 2 touchdowns. Okay.
38-24.
That's okay. I'll play along with that. I think at halftime, I'm going to go with LSU 10-7.
Oh.
And then
Getting the nerves out first half?
Yeah, I think both of them are just going to run the ball. It could potentially be a quick first half because I don't think they're really going to throw the ball.
Right.
Getting the nerves out. And then I think this is a close game, but I think LSU will cover. I'm going to go LSU 24-17. It's the first game.
Simply because they're running the ball, keeping it a low score?
I don't know what they expect from the quarterback position from either team. If LSU gets decent quarterback play, it's going to be close to your score.
Right. Because a couple of big passes will give you 25, 30-yard gains, and then you can go back to smash off football.
It's a cautiously optimistic game, I think, for LSU. I think we win. I'm going with the closer prediction, but if LSU dominates that line of scrimmage, which we were talking about earlier, they'll put it away.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, when you got a tight end at 280 and their heaviest linebacker weighs in at 215, 220, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer. You've got offensive linemen ranging from 275 to 315. Mm-hmm. Their defensive linemen may be no bigger than 250.
Absolutely.
I mean, these guys eat meals bigger than some of their defensive linemen, and it's just, I think it's going to get out of hand. I think it's going to get out of hand in the second half. So I think Wisconsin's going to have deer in the headlights when they come back out in the second half, and the Tigers going to do what we do best. Once that locomotion gets full speed, come that second half, it's game over.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get our pick-up schedule up.
Are we going college?
Yeah, we'll go college.
We're going SEC.
I think we can mainly do SEC.
Okay.
We'll do NFL next week since they actually get
into
this stuff. But let's go and see if we'll go SEC.
What do we have this week?
Got some interesting ones for sure. Let's start off with the big one on Thursday night.
Couple quality matches.
Yeah, so I think it's 3 top 25 matchups this weekend, and I think an SEC team is involved in all 3 of them, I believe. But first off, you got Texas A&M at South Carolina, the SEC Network launch game.
Don't really have to pick the winner of that one. Texas A&M is probably going to finish 13th out of 14 in the SEC this year.
Ooh, that's bold.
I think the only team that I'm going to go 12th, maybe 11th.
So no bowl.
No, I don't think A&M. I don't think A&M goes bowling this year. Their defense was terrible last year, and the only reason they won games was because of Johnny Manziel. I think Kenny Hill is untested. I think A&M is a team that's in a rebuilding year because everything revolves around Johnny Manziel. I think the only team that could potentially do worse than them, guarantee it, is Arkansas. I got South Carolina by at least 17. I think A&M's terrible this year. That's just my two cents.
I'm going to go with, first game dinners a little bit for both teams, but I think South Carolina is never in doubt. I'm going to say they win by 10.
I don't think
don't pick against the ball coach at home.
No, especially over the season. Spurrier knows no ethics and morals when it comes to football and the score. My job is not to run up the score. Your job is to stop me. That's his mentality.
Absolutely. Also that night, Ole Miss and Boise State played in their first chicken sandwich game.
Where's that at? Atlanta?
It's in Atlanta. So Ole Miss will definitely have the home field advantage. Can Ole Miss live up to the hype this year?
I think Bo Marshall puts it together. He's got more starts than any quarterback in the SEC right now. He's the most experienced. I think Bo Marshall, because Ole Miss is a dark horse to win the SEC West this year. I think Ole Miss. I think this is gonna be a damn good game, but I think Ole Miss takes this one.
I don't think it's the same Boise State team, but I think they'll keep it close. So I'm gonna go Ole Miss by touchdown.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Well, first game for Vanderbilt's new coach. They host Temple at home.
Vandy.
Yeah.
Vandy's on the climb. Vandy's got a damn good program the past 5 years.
Back-to-back 9-win season, but can they keep it up?
I don't think they go 9, but I think they still.
They beat Temple though.
I think they beat Temple.
Easy.
I think Vanderbilt has the potential to bring in some top-notch talent to possibly compete in the SEC. I didn't say win. I said compete.
Let's see. Missouri at home against San Diego State.
Come on, man. It's week 1.
Yeah,
Mizzou.
that's Mizzou.
They got a lot of talent coming back. Mizzou's not going to be a slouch.
Another conference game. Arkansas travels to Auburn.
Revert back about 2 minutes ago and hear what I just said, that the only team that I can guarantee you will finish worse than A&M is Arkansas. Arkansas goes 0-8 in the SEC again this year.
That is a possibility.
No.
You call it? Wow.
I would honestly put a bet on that if I had, an extra $20 to put a bet on that.
I think you're going to be seeing the Gus Bus doing a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
Against Arkansas. I think Arkansas will keep it close early, but they're just trying to run the ball. But Auburn's going to wear them out with the Gus Bus. I got Auburn at least 2 touchdowns.
He almost got his hands full.
He really does.
He's got his hands full. He's got the potential to turn that program around, but it's going to take him some time. This is not the year.
Idaho goes to Florida.
Next.
Yeah. Gators.
Wait. What is the spread? Can you pull that up on the
Does
it say?
I think they do.
Let me show you what the spread is. What does Vegas say?
You know what it is? I got to download the College Game Day app.
Oh, I need Sportacular again. Oh, wait. No,
that's not. That line's not right.
Way.
No,
according to ESPN, it says that the even line.
It's not an even line.
It's at least.
It's got to be at least 20.
I
got Florida by 3 touchdowns.
All right. Florida's another team that's on the rise this year.
They
against
could
the likes of Idaho, and
they could be one of those teams that sneaks up and steals the East this year.
That could be one of the games that hurts them whenever it comes down, when push comes to shove, to make it forward to the Final Four. Right. Should they advance that far?
Right. Southern Miss goes to Mississippi State.
Ooh.
Southern Miss hadn't been the same anymore. I think State wins this one fairly easy.
You're right.
I think Prescott may throw all.
Southern Miss had a couple of good years where they were a bowl contending team.
And then what's his name? Their coach went to North Carolina after Butch Davis basically got them on probation again.
Yep. I'll take State.
Let's see. And then we got the 2 big ones coming up. Clemson makes the return trip to the Hedges to take on Georgia. Both of them don't have their quarterbacks from last year. I got Georgia. I think it's Gurley show, and Gurley I think puts up 150 on Dabo.
I was going back and forth on this one, and I had to think about the fact that Watkins is gone, Taj Boyd is gone. On the other side of the ball, Aaron Murray's gone.
But Georgia has a lot of weapons off, and that backup's not bad.
And Georgia's defense is going to be stout this year.
They haven't had a stout defense in a while.
A long time, probably since the days of our freshman year at LSU, David Pollock.
Oh, God, yeah.
Go back then.
Back when they had, like, Boss Bailey. But
Georgia.
I think Georgia.
It's in the Hedges?
It's in the Hedges.
Georgia, but I think this one's going to be close. Closer than expected.
Yeah. Georgia's going to Georgia somehow.
Yeah.
But I think they'll get it done by a touchdown.
Georgia throws and still wins.
And get some revenge. Get some revenge from last year in a game that they should have won.
They should have won, hands down.
Then, of course, we go back down to chicken sandwich game numero dos.
Playing two chicken sandwich games?
Yeah, they started doing that last year. One's on
right.
third. The West Virginia Mountaineers take on Powell. The spread in this one, it might be the only interesting thing in this game. West Virginia is a 27.5-point underdog.
I don't think Alabama's as good as everybody gives them credit for. And as unbiased as I'm trying to be, as much as I despise the University of Alabama, I don't think they're as good as everybody gives them credit for. I really don't. Not this year. I don't.
They're on They're almost a carbon copy of LSU.
Yeah. They don't have a proven quarterback. Their defense lost a lot of players to the draft. I think West Virginia covers, but I think Alabama wins.
Alabama, I think, eventually puts them away, but I think West Virginia hangs around. You know, I got them winning 2 touchdowns. Alabama winning by 2 touchdowns, but I'm betting the mortgage on those 27.5 points.
I don't think Saban allows the Crimson Tide to blow another game against a Big 12 team like they did against Oklahoma. Oklahoma just beat the tar out of them last year.
And not to mention, seared in his head, 2 straight losses.
That doesn't happen.
That's grilling than a steak hotter than the brick oven at Bruce.
Yeah, you might see Tuscaloosa implode if they lose 2 straight. Whoa. Please. Paul Feinbaum might get fired from the SEC Network. That'd be the next best thing.
Or people that call in like this claim Bama. You gotta like Bama. Bama the best ever.
90% of Bama fans didn't even go to Bama. Fact. And the other 10% that went to Bama hate those 90%. Fact.
Yes. Fact. That is definitely a fact.
Who else we got?
That's all we got.
Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Utah State goes to Tennessee, and Tennessee is only a 6-point favorite.
It's
in Knoxville.
Underdog City.
Utah State.
Underdog City.
Almost beat Auburn 2 years ago.
Underdog City. I'm taking Utah State. I think Tennessee's still on the rebuild.
I think we're in agreement. Ding, ding, ding. The upset special. We saved it for last. How could we forget? Or were we just messing with our viewers? Yes, Ron and I both going with Utah State for the upset special this week. The Aggies, can they pull it off in Knox Vegas?
The Aggies have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent.
They're going to put points up.
They're going to score.
Can they stop Tennessee?
I think so. I do. I think so.
They're not going to lay down for sure. They should have beat Auburn 2 years ago.
Yep. In Auburn.
It took an onside kick. But we shall see, Ryan.
We shall see. Guys, the best time of year has finally arrived. College football starts this Thursday night. SEC Network, tune in for Texas A&M and South Carolina.
Of course, LSU, 8 p.m. on ESPN. If you want Saturday night, you're getting Saturday night.
Gives us a whole day of tailgating.
Yes, it does.
Good food, good friends, good times.
Absolutely.
Be responsible, America.
With that said, good night, America. And remember, don't be suspect.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
I like that salute.
We should do it more. Okay. You know what kind of reminds me of? You going for dramatic effect?
I'm trying to not be suspect.
Oh, you're trying not to be suspect.
Kapalpo. This one's for you, buddy.
You know, this kind of reminds me. Remember Scott Ho used to throw the toothpick? You do it like that.
Good night, America.
Good night.